I'd like to welcome y'all back to another episode of Beyond the Fear podcast, the place where y'all come for inspiration, motivation, uplifting, and just an overall positive word. I'm your host, DJ, and today's episode is just about creating your own opportunities. And this is something that I recently just had to learn for myself. And people always say, "Hey, a closed mouth doesn't get fed." And you just gotta. Sometimes you gotta go get those opportunities. You can't just sit back and wait for those opportunities to come to you. You can't always sit back and just wait for the right time or the right moment or for everything to line up perfectly. Sometimes you got to go out and create those opportunities. Sometimes you got to go out and make those things happen. And that's what I'm learning. And that's actually more so what I'm doing at my job. I'm starting to create some opportunities for myself. I'm starting to make some things happen for myself. I'm reaching out to people, talking to people just to make some things happen. So I'm starting to understand that, sitting back waiting for opportunities to happen, you could be waiting for months. You could be waiting for years. Who really knows? Because you're waiting on other people to do things for you. You're waiting on other people to want it as bad as you want it, and to make those things happen for you. And really, what you got to do is go make those opportunities happen for yourself. Go put yourself out there. Go make sure that they know your face. They know your name. They know how serious you are about these opportunities or about making things happen. And I got a lot of positive feedback from the things that I'm trying to make happen. So it definitely made me feel a lot better knowing that I got out of my comfort zone and I went and talked to some people to try to make something that I want for myself, something that I want to happen for myself, to try to make it happen. And it went well. It was received in a very positive manner. So, I'm hoping that it continues to happen. And even if it doesn't, I'm not going to get too down on myself. I'm not going to get too discouraged. I'm going to figure something else out and get that ball rolling, whatever it takes, because I understand now that I can't wait on other people to do my work for me. I can't wait on other people to care enough or to believe in me enough or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? I can't keep waiting on other people to do things for me. I got to go out and do them myself. I got to go set these appointments. I got to go write these emails. I got to make these phone calls and have these conversations. And I don't know what it is with me about why I have such an anxiety with talking on the phone with people. I don't know what it is, but it's just something that I hate doing. I cannot stand doing it. So I hate making appointments and, scheduling doctor visits and all of that stuff over the phone. I can do it online, whatever, no problem. But when I got to get on the phone and do it, I don't know why, but it just like paralyzes me, the thought of it. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm getting over that. I'm fighting through that because, I'm at a point now where I believe in myself enough and I know that I'm worth it. I know that I'm worth whatever discomfort that I'm getting ready to go through. I know that I'm worth it because I believe in what's going to come from I believe in what's going to come from it, from the other side of this discomfort and, going through these awkward moments and getting through all of this discomfort that I'm going through. I know that it'll be worth it. I know that I'll be able to enjoy the fruits of my labor once I get through the other side. But I had to learn that important lesson of you got to go create those opportunities for yourself. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't times when an opportunity will just fall out the sky and land in your lap. I'm not saying that that doesn't happen, but what I'm saying is if that's all you're waiting for, then you're just sitting there waiting. You don't know how many opportunities you're letting fly by you because you're just sitting here waiting on somebody else to do all the work and just put it in your lap. And as someone who used to live that way, I can tell you right now, those years are going to go by quick and you may never get that opportunity, that perfect opportunity that lands in your lap. You might get an opportunity that lands, but you still have to put some work in, you know what I'm saying? So you got to understand, like, even if an opportunity lands in your lap, it might not be the perfect situation, you know what I'm saying? And when I say perfect, I just simply mean where everything's done, everything's already been fleshed out, the plan has already been laid, the road, the map is already there. You just gotta follow it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes a situation may land in your lap, but there's still work to do. You don't know because there's no map for you. So you gotta map it out. You gotta go on this journey to figure out if it's going to work, if it's going to be successful. And so, you know what I'm saying? It's not the perfect opportunity, but well, it's not a completely ready-made opportunity. All you need to do is just walk the path. Everything else has been done for you. You just need to walk the path. You know what I'm saying? And that's the kind of things that I was waiting on, where all the leg work, all the little things, all the T's were crossed, all the I's were dotted, and you just needed me to sign my name and just walk the path. You know what I'm saying? Everything else was already laid out in front of me. Everything else was already done. That's what I was looking for. And I know that I missed out on a lot of opportunities because all I saw was the work. All I was scared of the work. So that's all I saw. And, and then there were plenty of people who had similar ideas to me, but they went out and seized those opportunities. They went out and made opportunities for themselves. Or if they saw something that might potentially work, they went and did that. They went and got what they needed, the training. They went and got the education. They went and took all those extra steps that they needed so that so even when the opportunity presented itself, first of all, they could recognize it, and then they can go get it, go grab it. Whereas for me, I'm sitting back waiting on everything to be done for me. I'm literally sitting back waiting on the opportunity where everything is done, all of this is done, all the hard work, all the sweat, blood, and tears has been put into it, and now you just need me to be the finishing piece. And that's not realistic. And it took me a while to get out of that mindset. That is a very dangerous and a very consuming mindset, and it's very contagious as well. So that's why I do my best when I see people have that mindset. I try to talk to them, and if it's just like at a point where they're not ready to hear it, they're not ready to receive, that type of information, or they're not ready to have those type of talks. They just hear it, and when they hear it, all they hear is you attacking them. I just kind of leave it alone and let them do their thing, because I remember when I was like that, and I didn't want to hear people calling me lazy, or people calling me unmotivated, or people telling me I don't care enough about my own future. It was like a part of me knew that it was true, but I wasn't ready to hear it. So I just heard it all as a personal attack on me. And, naturally I'm gonna get defensive and things like that. So when I see people going through similar things, I just kind of take a step back and let them do what they do and let them go through the process that they need to go through, because until they're ready to have those conversations, or until they're ready to hear those, what I'm saying, until they're ready to have those hard conversations and really ready to hear those words, and really there's really not much you can do, because all you're going to be doing is battling them. And at the end of the day, they're going to still do what they want to do. So all your words are going to do is fall on deaf ears. And I know this because I lived it for so long. So now that I'm finally in a better place, mentally, and I'm in a better place as far as my mindset and the way I look at myself. So it allows me to look at the world in a different space, because I look at myself in a different way. Excuse me. I understand that, I got to go get my opportunities. I can't wait on these perfectly tailor-made opportunities to come what I'm saying, right here in front of me. And there may come a time when they do, but right now they're not coming like that. So I have to go create my opportunities. I got to go make these things happen for myself. And honestly, it's giving me a sense of fulfillment. Is making me feel like, man, I really achieved something, which is a good thing for me, because I always say, celebrate the small victories and right along with the big victories. So, the fact that um my ideas are being received well at work. That's good. You know what I'm saying? That's a positive thing for me. The fact that I'm able to get the ball rolling on some things on my own. You know, I haven't had to rely on this person and that person, or wait on this person and that person. Like when I I found out who I needed to talk to, started reaching out to those people, started talking to them, started doing what I needed to do, and I've been able to, for the most part, cut the middleman out. As far as just having to wait on somebody else to send that email, or just having to constantly call and reach out to this person. Hey, have you sent that email yet? Hey, have you had a chance to talk? Because I know people have busy schedules, and I know that people have other things that they need to worry about before they can even worry about my issues and my problems and my situation. So the fact that I can at certain times my take those opportunities into my own hands and do what I need to do to try to springboard my stuff forward, or to put my stuff on a faster track, because I can go directly to those sources. I can go directly to the people I need to go to try to make my goals and my dreams happen, is a beautiful thing for me, because it wasn't something that I would really try to do. Because even if I had an idea about something in the past, I would try to get other people to do it. I was trying to manipulate and pull strings, and trying to do it more so behind the scenes. Like, no, this person's idea, just in case it doesn't work, it can be put on them. But if it does work, I can find a way to slide my name in there to get the credit. And it's just kind of like, it was a lot of work for little results. You know what I'm saying? I was working way more than I should have been, because not only am I trying to work to get the plan that I want enacted, I'm also working to try to manipulate people and manipulate scenarios, so that way, you know what I'm saying, I could do trying to do the least amount of work, when really I'm working double the amount of time trying to manipulate everything. So, it was never ever really worth it. I never really ever got a big enough payback um from those things, because of the work that I put in, all the unnecessary work too, because again, it was unnecessary, because I'm trying to manipulate things where I could have just went straight to people and been like, hey, I'm thinking about this, or I'm thinking about this type of program, or I'm thinking about this type of training. Hey, I've done this job. I know that this would be a better way to approach training. I know that this would work better. People would receive this a lot better. So, you know what I'm saying? Instead of going to people the honest way, the truthful way, and just letting my experience speak for itself, I was trying to manipulate and maneuver and move pieces around, and sometimes it was successful. But like I said, all the extra work that I'm putting in, just was never really worth it. So now that I'm just more so getting rid of the middleman and just going to talk to people myself, and really going to have those conversations with people myself, and trying to move the needle and trying to get things going for myself. Number one, like I said, it just gives me a sense of accomplishment. It gives me a sense of, okay, I'm doing things the right way, things are working. But I also understand that there's a chance that it won't work out. You know what I'm saying? Again, not wishing that upon myself, but being honest enough with myself to know that that's an option. You know what I'm saying? And not allowing that fear of it potentially not working, not allowing that to stop me from sending the emails and taking all the steps that I need to take. And so, now that I have an understanding, and now that I have an acceptance of, yes, there is a small possibility of it not working, or things falling apart, or whatever the case may be, because you never know. Everything could be working, and then something happens, and now that plan is falling apart. You know what I'm saying? It's no one's fault. It's just things happens. It's business. You just never, you know what I'm saying? You never know. Things happen from day to day. It's just life. So now that I've accepted that, and I've also gotten past that fear of it, of failing, or the fear of it falling through, or whatever the case may be, now there's nothing stopping me. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing stopping me from talking to these people. There's nothing stopping me from going into these rooms and having these conversations. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm just in a beautiful place because I've learned to accept that there's a chance of failure, but I'm not allowing that fear to stop me. I'm not allowing that fear to paralyze me. And the more that I go, the more that I gain confidence in myself, more I gain confidence in my ideas, my confidence grows in speaking my ideas when, we have our meetings or when people ask, what could help, your work life or what could help, you do your job better and things like that. It just gives me more confidence to speak up and to talk, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm just trusting. I'm also learning how to just trust my experience, because I always just would trust myself, you know what I'm saying? Because I always thought for the longest time, like I'm not, I'm not good enough, or I don't have the experience, or I don't have enough experience, or the person to my left or to my right probably knows one, two, three, four things better than me, whatever the case may be, even if it's just one thing. You know what I'm saying? So I always doubted myself. So this is like also helping me to remove those doubts because you never know how valuable your experience is. Like to me, my experience may not be that valuable, but once I start talking, and I started to see, okay, people do value the experience that I bring to the table. I just didn't know because I never gave myself the credit or even the opportunity to find out because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't give myself enough credit to even feel confident enough to walk into those rooms. So now that I have the confidence to walk into those rooms, you know what I'm saying? I'm starting to realize that my experience I do have the experience to walk into these rooms and to hold my own with, my peers and with some of these directors and with some of these managers and things like that, because I bring a piece that they may not know. A lot of them don't know because a lot of them haven't worked in type of backgrounds that I have, just like I haven't worked in their backgrounds. So I say all of that to say we got to start believing in ourselves. Like, even if you don't think that you bring a lot of value, you never know what type of value you bring until you go to that table and put your experiences, whether that's your work experiences, your life experiences, everything, put it out on the table. And you know what I'm saying? You might be surprised at how valuable you are, but you have to start believing in yourself. And it's so important to believe in yourself. It's so important to chase your dreams, to chase your goals, to go after those opportunities, go after the things that you want. And even if you fail at that, that's okay. Pick yourself up and keep going. And like, I feel like that's once I learned that lesson, once I got that stuck in my head, like, it's okay to fall. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to fail. It's okay to shoot for the moon or shoot for the stars and miss it. All of those things are okay. All of those things happen in business, like and in life. You know what I'm saying? Even, like I've said so many times, the most successful people will always have stories about their failures. So once I stopped letting my fear of failing paralyze me, it opened up so many doors for me. It opened up so many different mindsets for me. It opened up my confidence. It opened up my ability and my um willfulness to speak up and to talk more and to um to reach out to people, or to even just say something as simple as setting boundaries with some of my coworkers, because you know once you start to believe in yourself, once you start to have that confidence, now you got that voice, now you got that inner voice, and now that inner voice is getting bigger, it's getting louder, and soon you just start, you get more comfortable talking because you know, again, going back to what I said in the beginning, a closed mouth don't get fed. So even if your coworkers are doing things that you don't like or that you don't appreciate or that making things tougher for you to do your job, if you're never saying anything, how do they know? You know what I'm saying? Because you may, now granted, you do have your people who are just going to do stuff just to make it easy for themselves. They don't care how it affects you. But you do have people who aren't trying to make stuff harder for you, but if they do something and then you just okay, and you rolling with it, they might think like, okay, they don't care, or okay, that's they like doing this or whatever. So they just don't know. And then once you find your voice and you're able to speak up more for yourself, then you know what I'm saying, they'll start to see, okay, they don't like that, they don't appreciate it, and then you'll see how things change. Because another thing that I learned is simple conversations, right? Real simple and real conversations can change a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? Because again, some people just don't know. Some people just assume, oh, when I came in, I seen you doing X, Y, and Z. I know I'm supposed to be taking care of X, but I've seen you doing it from the time I got here. You don't complain about it. You always got a smile on your face. I thought that you liked doing it. But now that we've had a talk, you let me know, okay, I have no problem picking that up because that's my responsibility anyway. I just assumed that, you like doing it. And I mean, a simple conversation can clear up so many things, but we scared to have those conversations, and because we're scared of what could come out of those conversations. And it's just like, yeah, there's an opportunity that it could go bad, but then there's also that opportunity that it can go well. It's an opportunity that you can start to build a better relationship with your coworkers or with your supervisors, your managers. You just never know what could come of those conversations, but they need to be had, especially if you're in an uncomfortable position, or you're taking on way more than you should, or you have way more on your shoulders than you should. Like, it's time to start having these conversations so that way you can either lighten your load, or, you at least, at the very least, get compensated for, what's going on. And again, I know that that won't always happen. I'm talking more in a perfect world type of situation, but you just never know what could come from these conversations. We just gotta quit being scared to have them. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, there's a lot of bad that could come from it, but it's a lot of good that could come from it too. We got to stop being afraid to have the conversations. I think that that's more so the problem, is the fact that we're even scared to have the conversations. We're not even having these talks. We're not, we're just going through suffering, and just trying to make it every single day. We struggling, you know what I'm saying? We doing jobs that we shouldn't be doing, or we're taking on responsibilities that aren't ours. And because we're scared to have these conversations, we're putting ourselves through way more stress than we need to. You know what I'm saying? Putting our bodies and our minds through way more stress than we need to. And I already know the corrosive power of stress. You know what I'm saying? I understand how stress can break your body down, how stress can do some things to your body. So we got to start, having the confidence to have these conversations, because, you know what I'm saying, sometimes your supervisors, man, some things are just, going on under their watch, and it's not that they're trying to allow it to happen. It's like they don't know. And if we're not going to speak up, then how will they know? If we're not willing to take that chance to have that conversation, to put it out there, so that way we can, have these conversations. It's so important to talk, man. It's so important to have these talks with your co-workers, with your managers, with your supervisors, because a lot of us are suffering in silence, and you know what I'm saying? And it's literally like killing us. So man, we got to start speaking up. You got to start talking to the people that you need to talk to about getting your conditions better. But I also understand how paralyzing fear can be. And so that's why, again, that's why I named my podcast what I named it, Beyond the Fear, because it's so it's so much beauty, right? Once you get past that fear. And I mean fear of whatever it is that you fear. I don't just mean fear of trying something new. I mean just fear of trying to get out of what you've been doing. I mean, just fear of anything, whatever it is that you fear. So many beautiful things once you can get past it, especially when that fear paralyzes you, especially when that fear gets you to the point to where you don't want to do anything anymore. You're no longer motivated. It, what I'm saying, life just kind of stops for you because that fear has gotten so strong. And I mean, that's the point of my podcast, man, is just trying to show people that as hard as it is to take that first step against your fear, whatever your fear may be, it's worth it, because the next step gets a little easier, and the next step gets a little easier, and so on and so forth. But we got to take that first step. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying, when you feel like, nobody hearing you, nobody knows your story, nobody cares, like, and you feel like that conversation that I'm talking about having isn't going to change anything. And I'm like, that's just your fear talking, because you don't know what is going to change. And maybe it won't, but you just never know until you try. You know what I'm saying? We know what not talking has done for you. We know what not having these conversations is going to do. You're going to get the same thing that you've been getting. At least go. So what does it hurt to have the conversation? If you already know what not having the conversation is going to lead to, what's the harm in having the conversation? What's the harm in seeing if there's a chance that your higher ups or your management team cares enough to say, hey, you know what, let's look into this. Let's see if there's any credibility or if there's any weight to what they're saying about this situation. If it's as bad as they say it is, and you never know what that could spark. You never know what that could lead to. And I don't know if I've said this story on here before, but I remember when I was working out in Texas, and there was, when we did our orientation, there was, a big emphasis on your points, your big emphasis on attendance. And one of the things that they said was you have a chance to have points taken off if you come to work, um, like from the first of the month to the end of the month, whatever it is, those 30 days or whatever it is, without any absences. The first time you do it, it was a half point. The next time you did it consecutively after the first time, it would be a point after that. And so, but nobody was getting the points taken away. You know what I'm saying? They was on top of giving you your points, but they weren't on top of taking your points away. And so at some point I got frustrated and tired of it. Because I had 4 points because I was sick right before Christmas or during Christmas. So I missed 4 days and I had 4 points. That was in December. So here we are at the end of March, and I still had those same 4 points. Nothing's coming off. So, and we always had a morning meeting every single day, to talk about safety, talk about production, talk about, um, I would say about 90% of it was just for them to talk about the negative stuff about us, not about a tendency, about what we're not doing right, about what we need to do better. But they never really touched on like, hey, we're doing a good job here. We're doing a good job here, there. But that's, I'm saying, neither here nor there. The point that I'm making is during that morning meeting, I asked, like, well, y'all are very adamant about making sure we understand how we get points added for not coming in, but what happened to us getting points taken away if we're coming to work, if we're showing up, if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing? And some of the managers looked at me kind of crazy and like, hey, we'll talk about this at another time. But it's like you get tired of being told, hey, we'll talk about this, or hey, I'll make time for you, or go talk to this manager, or I have nothing to do with a tendency, oh, I don't know the policy. At some point, you got to go to the top and, you know what I'm saying, to have these conversations. So I had the conversation, and sure enough, like, then like over the next 3 or 4 days, people started seeing points coming off, half a point, whole point, whatever it is, started coming off. And then the system was actually put in place to where it was working the way it was supposed to be. So that way, if you missed the day, you got your point. That was normal. That's been going on from the beginning. But the thing that changed is if you did do from the first of the month to the end of the month, and you didn't miss any days in between that time, the first time it happened, you got your half point. And then if you did it the following month, you got a point. You know what I'm saying? So people had got a chance to actually get some points taken off. But and I just brought that story up to just show you that you never know what a conversation can do. because you never know what your managers don't know. They may not know that that's not going on. They didn't even know the policy. They didn't know. They knew about, again, they knew about giving the points, but they didn't even know that if you do the first to the end of the month, the beginning to the end of the month, don't miss any days, half a point, all that stuff. They didn't even know that part of the policy. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you just never know what they don't know because they're not doing the research. They're not doing what they need to be doing. So sometimes you gotta give them that kick in their butt. You never know what that conversation, what those talks can spark. Like, yes, there's an opportunity for it to spark something bad or for it to spark something worse, but there's also an opportunity for it to spark something better. And if you're already stressed out and stuff at work, and I get it because, again, that fear of it being worse, it can paralyze you, but why not see if it can get better? Why not see if it can have a positive change, a positive effect on your work life? So, man, just I say that to say, have those conversations. Don't be afraid to have those conversations. Start finding your inner voice and start having these conversations. And like I said, like I always tell people, it doesn't have to be disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Your conversations don't have to be disrespectful. You don't have to come in hot. You don't have to come in hostile. But you just need to let people know that, hey, this isn't acceptable, or what I'm going through isn't fair, or is there anything that we could be doing to make this situation better for the people who, you know what I'm saying, who getting the short end of the situation. So, but we got to have those conversations because, again, sometimes those managers don't know what's going on, you know what I'm saying? Because they're focused on what they're focused on, you know what I'm saying? They don't always take the time to look at um the work environment and what's going on and making sure everything's working the way it needs to work. So sometimes we got to point those things out and we got to let people know. But, you know what I'm saying, we also have to find that courage to find our voice so that way we can have those conversations. And I know how hard that is because I know how paralyzing that fear can be, but we got to start moving past that fear. We got to start pushing past it. So to wrap everything up, man, start going for your opportunities, man. Quit waiting on those opportunities. Quit sitting back just waiting on those opportunities to land in your lap, man. Go get it when you see it. When you see that there's a potential opportunity, go after it 100% because you know what I'm saying. You never know what that opportunity could lead to, or you never know what you pursuing that opportunity. You never know who's watching, who's paying attention, who's taking notes and seeing your drive, seeing that you, when you want something, you willing to go for. You never know who's paying attention to stuff like that. But keep pushing for your goals and your dreams, man. And don't be afraid to have those tough conversations with your friends, with your co-workers, with management, whatever, man. You got to have those tough conversations, man, because that's the only way things are going to start to change. We got to have those tough conversations, man. So start having those tough conversations with the people around you, man. So that way you can start to make your situation a little bit better. But y'all already know, I want to thank everybody on whatever platforms you're listening. I want to thank y'all for taking the time to listen. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I want to say thank you for taking the time to watch. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, man. And y'all have a blessed day.